Hey everyone, Ray Del Vecchio here from KetoDietResults.com. I want to talk to you today about 5 keys to success on the keto diet, particularly if you're just starting out on the diet. Now, what I've found is that on the keto diet, as long as you're tracking your macronutrients, you can actually mix in a lot of kinds of food, but there are certain rules that I like to follow. So let me start with rule number 1, and that is eat whole foods only. Now, I realize that every now and then you might break this and eat a packaged food or a processed food that has the right macronutrient profile, but for the most part, I think you should eat whole foods, because if you're eating whole foods, then you're eating higher quality foods and you know the source of the food. Whereas, the processed and packaged foods, a lot of times they'll have additives in there. There's sugar added in a lot of foods that you wouldn't expect it. But even beyond that, I just think that the more that you can eat foods that have less processing and less people that have touched it, it's better for you. So that is my first rule, and frankly, that's the first step that I took to lose weight before I even knew anything about the keto diet or before I was trying to follow any specific diet. All I really did was eat whole foods, eat lean meat, and I was still eating grains at the time and probably a lot of carbs, but that did reduce my weight from about 200 pounds, which was my all-time high, down to about 180. And right now I'm about 144 after following the keto diet for a little bit. It's probably close to 7 months now. I started in November and we're at the end of May right now. So that I think is the most important. You want to eat good foods, good quality foods. So number 2 is eat enough greens and fiber. Now, I have been tracking calories for the majority of the time I've been on the diet, and I don't track net carbs, I just track total carbs, but in doing so, I do try and make sure that 50% or more of my carbs are coming from high quality sources like green vegetables. So the funny thing is, on the keto diet, even though you're eating a lot of fat, I've easily had more greens than I've ever had in my life. I mean, every single day I have either broccoli, cauliflower, Brussels sprouts, asparagus, or a salad. So almost every single day, if not every day, I have something green and fiber rich in my diet. And if you don't like greens or you want to slowly incorporate greens, then just make sure you're eating other fiber rich foods that aren't too high in carbs other than fiber. And one easy addition that I add is psyllium husk. Now, psyllium husk is just really the name for Metamucil. But what it does is it's pretty much all fiber, and it kind of forms like a gel type consistency when you put it in a mix or water. And what I do is make a low carb seed bun out of flaxseed, sunflower seed, a few other things, and this psyllium husk. And if I have one of those a day, then that's a good amount of fiber. I would say one of those a day is probably close to 10 grams of fiber. So I've made sure that I have a lot of fiber on this diet just to make sure that I'm staying regular. The third thing is drink a lot of water. Now, if you don't know anything about a low-carb diet, you might not know that the first bit of your weight loss, and really any diet you go on, I would think, the first bit of your weight loss is probably mostly water weight, because when you have a high-carb diet, your body retains water. So when you start doing a low-carb diet, like the keto diet, you're going to lose a lot of water. So you want to drink at least 8 glasses a day, if not more. I mean, I would say I probably have closer to 100 to 120 ounces a day. I mean, almost a gallon a day. And that was also a habit that I started well before I started the keto diet. So transitioning over to the keto diet, it wasn't too difficult to follow that. The fourth one is use enough salt. So one of the side effects that I went through and that I think almost everyone goes through is the keto flu, which when you lose the water weight, you're also losing minerals. So a lot of times you'll feel lightheaded, you might have a headache, you might get body aches. But for the most part, the ones that I felt, I kind of got a headache or lightheaded. And I had times where I felt like I just needed to lay down for about a half hour just to get enough energy to do work throughout the day. And a lot of times this can be a result of not getting enough salt, but also magnesium or potassium. So some of the foods that are rich in magnesium and potassium are Brazil nuts, avocados, and I believe that dark chocolate is high in magnesium, so I eat a lot of dark chocolate. That's just an addiction of mine. I'm a sugar addict, so that's kind of like my way to eat dessert without having that much sugar. But if you are, just starting the diet and you're not feeling that well, then there's a good probability that that's because you're not having enough salt, magnesium, or potassium. So make sure you're adding them into your foods relatively generously. And the last thing that I want to talk about here is avoiding bad fats. So what are bad fats? From everything that I've read, bad fats are vegetable fats because they have a high degree of omega-6 fatty acids, which if you have too much omega-6 and not enough omega-3, then that could be bad for inflammation. So if you have a diet high in omega-3s, that's going to have anti-inflammatory effects on your body. And the ones that I think are the worst are the vegetable oils, canola oil, corn oil, soy or soybean oil. So really, to simplify this, I stick with coconut oil. I get organic coconut oil. I get olive oil. I have light olive oil, which I'll use to cook with, and then extra virgin olive oil, which I'll use for salads or to top off as a flavoring. Really, that's it. I mean, the other thing is when you're eating meat or buying meat, you want to get grass-fed meat or free-range organic when possible, because those types of meats are going to have more of the omega-3 fatty acids and just a better fat profile in general. So that's really 5 things that you want to stick to. Let me recap them. Number 1, eat whole foods and avoid processed foods when possible. Number 2, eat greens and fiber-rich vegetables every single day. Number 3, drink a lot of water. Number 4, make sure you have enough salt and also magnesium and potassium, your other minerals. And number 5, avoid bad fats. And like I said, to simplify that, I almost exclusively use olive oil and coconut oil. So there you have it. If you're just getting started on the diet, I did put together a 7-day meal plan that you can download for free at my website. So I'll include a link to that on here. But otherwise, put a comment in the section below if you follow a different set of rules or you have other tips for how you lost weight on the keto diet. Thanks a lot, guys. Hope you have a good one.